Hello, I am Aviva Lee, reporting live in Jerusalem from room 552 for Israel 24/6 TV. Today is the 12th of August, 2008. Welcome to this edition of Fact, Not Commentary. There has been and is a lot of news here in the holiest city on earth. Thank you to all of you who have kept in touch with us with your comments, both pro and con, while I have been away. Concerning one of those comments, my assistant forwarded a question to me recently which arrived from a viewer who is seeking the correct text as well as the chapter and verse location for the saying from the Quran, which implies that someone who does not believe every word of the Quran is guilty of not believing the entire Quran. Please let me hear from you by way of this show if you know this quotation and its location in the Quran. Please reply in English. And even though Prime Minister Ehud Olmert has again succeeded in stacking the deck of political cards which he dealt himself in his favor, day-to-day life in Israel continues uninterrupted. And even in zones sometimes infiltrated by Arabs or Arab sympathizers who employ terrorism as a means to disrupt life in the sovereign state of Israel, the Minister of Defense, Ehud Barak, had ordered the opening of the Ganot crossing. This recent decision of Minister Ehud Barak was documented via the government press office on August the 9th. The communique states that the Ganot crossing has been opened for free passage of the local population. However, the communique ended with an oft-repeated vernacular putting our enemies on notice that the use of the crossing as a point of infiltration into the sovereign state of Israel with the intent to harm her civilians, her borders, would not be tolerated. And in keeping with the promise of the defense minister based upon yesterday's Qassam launching into Sderot, which hit a kindergarten building, all crossings are closed again. And in a communique dated August the 7th, the government press office announced the indictment of 2 Israeli soldiers, one Lieutenant Colonel Omri Borberg and Staff Sergeant L. in military court. Of course, the listening world knows that these 2 soldiers serving in the Israel Defense Force were involved in the shooting of an Arab after he had been detained, bound, and blindfolded. The communique further states, and I quote, "The investigative military police handled the case, and the results were also thoroughly examined by the military advocacy. Following the examination, the military advocate general, Brigadier General Avichai Mandelblit, conducted hearings with Lieutenant Colonel Borberg's and Staff Sergeant L's representatives. The military advocate general determined that said incident reflects a severe moral failure of command and requires that both the officer and the soldier involved will be tried in a military court, since an internal disciplinary trial will not be sufficient. Since said incident is a severe case, Brigadier General Mandelblit considered the decision of the Chief of the General Staff, Lieutenant General Gabi Ashkenazi, to reassign the battalion commander effective immediately," which is significant action in itself. Deriving from the general findings of the case, while also bearing in mind the significant actions already taken, the military advocate general decided to charge the participants with the offense of unworthy conduct. This decision is in accordance with the Israeli Supreme Court ruling, in which it was decided that the IDF command sanctions, which is a unique form of sanctioning, are sometimes more severe than their corresponding criminal sanctions. It is also worth considering that significant actions have already been taken following the incident and the heavy consequences that the defendants already bear. The trial is expected to begin in the near future." End quote. Just a few hours ago, I spoke with the director of the Jerusalem YMCA Mr. Norris Lineweaver. Mr. Lineweaver was very forthcoming with his thoughts about the second bulldozer terrorist attack in Jerusalem last month. At the conclusion of our conversation, Mr. Lineweaver said, and I quote, "Bulldozers are for building bridges, not for violence." End quote. And that concludes this edition of Fact Not Commentary. Thank you to Media Central for the impromptu use of their office for this edition. I am Aviva Lee, reporting live in Jerusalem from room 552 for Israel 24/6 TV. Thank you and Shalom.